So we're here on the Sandy River now, another one of the gems in Ben's district here. And so we're going to try fishing for steelhead in this location right off of I-84. Yep. Where are we and what's different about the Sandy than the Clackamas?
Yeah, so right here we're about under a mile from the mouth with the Columbia, and as you see I-84, we're right in basically downtown Troutdale. We're at Lewis and Clark Park. The Sandy has a lot of great bank access in the lower river. There's roads that parallel it, and a lot of parks. There's two state parks. There's Lewis and Clark here, and a couple miles up the road is Dabney, and there's boat launches at both of those with numerous pullouts. And as we go up, we're also going to get to like Oxbow Regional Park, which is run by Metro, and they have about 5 miles of bank access there. So, and then you go about another 3 miles up, and that's where our hatchery is at Cedar Creek on Sandy. So the lower river does have quite a bit of bank access. One of the main differences, is if you can see, is that the Sandy is aptly named because of all the glacial till and sand, and so the banks and everything and the substrate really has this sand that shifts around and flows.
Which is a lot different than the Clackamas.
Which is a lot different than the Clackamas and a lot of other rivers in the state.
Yeah. So you get these sandbars. Do we fish the sandbars and this type of substrate differently?
Yeah, you would try to avoid it because the fish really aren't going to hold on the sand as much as the clean gravel areas. So that's kind of what you're wanting to fish.
So as you go up, you're just looking at the water, trying to isolate those areas with gravel or boulders like you're talking about, and hit those rockier areas? Yeah,
hit the rockier areas. And the locations like this are really, Lewis and Clark is one of the spots where people really like to plunk. For steelhead, especially if the flows are a little bit higher than they are now, this is more your classic bank fishing, bobber and jig, bead fishing, spoon fishing, whatever. I mean, the visibility here is really great. The other thing about the Sandy is when the snow levels drop, the river drops and comes into shape.
Okay. So it's kind of the opposite of the Clackamas.
It's the opposite of the Clackamas. So you really can fish a lot of times with a lot of rain. As long as the snow level is low, the Sandy will still fish.
Because it's not getting all of the tributaries coming in and muddying the river up.
Yeah, they're all locked up with snow. So that's one of the major differences with the Sandy.
So that early spring, or excuse me, late spring, early summer, when it starts to heat up, this is going to blow out.
It's going to blow out, yeah.
Okay, but the Clackamas is still going to be good.
The Clackamas will still be okay.
So still within this area, there's always something to fish.
There's always something to fish.
So you always have an excuse. That's good to know.
Yep. Yeah. Same deal again. I was just going here for our goods.
So as we're looking out at the water, you mentioned that in that slow moving water, the fish still like a bit of turbidity. Is this enough, what we're looking at here?
Yeah, we can see behind us the rocks kind of breaking the surface up a little bit, so that provides cover from like a predator, like a bird or something.
Yeah, like natural predators.
Natural predators. So it makes the fish feel a little safer. Just breaks up the silhouette a little bit, and there's pockets of deeper water behind those boulders as well, so they can kind of feel a little bit more safe versus like kind of a smooth laminar. But they could be anywhere in here, but probably behind those boulders is going to be your best shot.
So we're going to fish this a little differently then, not necessarily just hit that slack water in a grid pattern, but we're going to isolate a structure in the water.
Yes, probably. And we've got this little cobble bar coming out here. Like I said, on the Sandy, we know that there's gravel on that, so we're going to hit that patch more than this softer inside where the sand settles out.
So you have to read this a little bit. You have to know what you're looking at here. So we can see this real soft stuff. We know that this is all sand. But once it starts to break off and we get the cobbles, that's where they're going to be sitting.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what, again, dividing the river up a little bit. This is kind of how you need to look at it. And then this is a really popular spot, so pay attention to where other anglers are fishing and what they're using, and give them their space. So take a minute before you get down and actually start casting to see what everyone else is doing, and figure out how you're going to fit in with everyone else to maintain harmony between everybody.
And that's a good way to find someplace new, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you go to the popular places and then just look and see where everybody else is fishing.
Yeah, and what they're using and who's being successful.
And don't be afraid to ask people what they're doing and ask for help if you're new to an area. I know fishermen seem salty and like they don't want to help you, but they're actually super nice. So go ask people what they're doing. I'm sure they'll give you information. And if they don't, give them Ben's number.
Yeah.